Hey guys, Brent Hull Build Show, talking today about house styles, and it's one of the secrets to being a master builder. Come join me, come find out. Okay, so I'm doing the Master Builder University. Stay tuned for more information. That should be coming in the fall of this year, and it'll be a special invite, and hopefully we'll have some guys out, and I've been putting together the curriculum for it. I've realized how important historic precedent is to understanding styles, and all the gobbledygook I talk about is usually grounded in this historic precedent and this historic style. So one of the secrets to being able to help your clients design better, build better, help you understand what you're looking at is to understand house styles in America. So I wanted to just do a series, and I've done a few of the houses along the way. We did the neoclassical, we did colonial revival recently, but now we're going to dig into all the styles. We're just going to start here and go this way, mainly because I've got a lot of these style houses here in Texas. Then we're going to go up to the Northeast and look at historic houses, and we'll study more Georgian and federal things. So here it is laid out, right? Georgian, federal, Greek revival, Victorian, arts and crafts, period revival, okay? That's around 1920, 1930. And then after the war, the ranch period, mid-century modern. Now, notice what I've done out here, okay? So this is 1970 and after. I've got a question mark, okay? The first style that you need to understand is not a style. The first style is a bad thing, like it's called a McMansion, right? And you've got all these different houses being built today, and sometimes I'll describe them. If you watch my Wednesday videos on design, it's a house. It's not any style. There's a peak, there's a window, there's a garage, house, right? But there is no style to that. And what is a style? A style is typically a design ideal, a philosophy, a way of thinking about how a house looks, why a house looks the way it looks, is its house style. And so in this first video, we're going to talk about these styles of houses that are after 1970. The Dolphins had the no-name defense. Of course, that's a good thing. That was in the 80s. I'm dating myself. But this is a bad thing, right? That was a good thing. This is a bad thing. The no-name house style, okay, is what we'll call this. Now, remember how we got to the 1970s, okay? We come out of the Victorian period. We got the arts and crafts, right? The Victorian, very ornamented. Arts and crafts, very simple. You go into the period revival, the inspiration from Europe. Then what happens is we get into the Great Depression in 1929, and certainly into the 1930s. Then we have World War II. There's a huge housing glut. We come out of the 1940s, and guys like William Levitt start building these houses cheap and fast. Production building starts in 1950, okay? So realize that there were no production builders before that, and they make up 80% of the housing stock that's built today is built by production builders. So majority of the houses that are built today are now built on an ideal of cheap and fast, okay? Really, we've entered a period of time, okay, where it started in the 80s with the McMansions, and it went into, you know, the early 2000s, and we've kind of got these conglomeration of parts and pieces that mean house but aren't a style. Now, there is people that try to do Mediterranean houses or Tudor houses or colonial houses. The problem is they don't do them very well. If you're a student of my Wednesday videos, you know that most of those things, I'm fixing windows, I'm fixing columns, I'm fixing eave designs, I'm fixing these stickers that we're putting on these houses that make no sense, okay? Especially when they're put together. And the problem is, as I've explained, builders will say, go pick your windows, go pick your brick, go pick your siding, right? And they aren't helping you guide them through so that you get something that looks right. And so a lot of people are coming to me saying, my house isn't right, can you help fix it? And how am I fixing it? I'm taking a historic precedent and I'm applying it to these new house styles so that it makes sense. So what happens is, and the reason why this is important to understand these post-1970s houses is because they are no style, okay? And they get copied, and those details get copied again and again, and then all of a sudden it is its own style. And so people copy something that was built in 2000, and all of a sudden they're doing a Xerox of a Xerox of a Xerox, and we end up looking at it going, gosh, it's really kind of plain, or it's really kind of ugly, or it's really kind of difficult. And manufacturers don't help, because manufacturers are inventing new products all the time. You know, you get this collection of details that you use with Hardie. You get a collection of details you use with vinyl siding. You get a collection of details you use with fly ash. Whatever those things are, they end up being small little pockets and libraries of details that kind of copy themselves. And so I'm starting with this style because I almost want to flush it out of your system. I almost want to just say, don't copy anything that we're doing right now. Don't look at this time period and the way we're building and go, yes, okay. Look at it and go, okay, all of these things are a copy of something that happened before the range period. All of the timbered eaves, the gable end returns, the tube columns, the cheap windows, right? The cheap siding are all things that are copying everything that was done before 1950. So I don't want you looking at any of these things done in the last 50 years and go, yes, that's good, right? I want you to look at it and go, okay, I see what they're trying to do, but let's look to the past and try to, figure out how to build again. Because I do believe we've lost the art of building, and I believe it happened after 1970. So we're talking about the Mediterranean style, right? You go out to Phoenix, or you go out to that area. All those houses look the same. They just it's monotonous and it's boring. It's the barrel tile roofs, it's the stucco walls, it's the blank windows, right? They are copying this period revival Mediterranean European style, but they're just taking enough of the details that you go, oh, it's Mediterranean, or oh, it's Spanish, and they're not getting any of the magic that goes along with making that house beautiful. So again, this period revival thing, Mediterraneans, Tudors, French style houses that just aren't copied very well. The timbered, the cottagey look, right? The barn look are all things that, again, the barns of the Georgian Federal, Greek Revival, Late Victorian era are so charming. People are wanting to build it today, but they do a terrible job of it. They use the wrong materials, the wrong scale, and it ends up just being ugly. But maybe it's a call to you to fight, right? Maybe it's a call to you and a challenge to you to fight for something that's beautiful. And I'm telling you, the whole industry, I was just at the Builder Show, everybody, the manufacturers, the tool makers, certainly the designers, they're all pushing you down this path of quick, fast, easy, cheap for better building, okay? And look, I'm not saying it's all terrible, because it's not, right? There are good things out there, but for design, okay, for style, you have to fight this machine, okay, that's pushing you down this road. And if you want to get good design, Georgian Federal, authentic details, you have to fight, because to do a gable end return today requires doing it probably in traditional wood, probably with traditional crowns, probably with traditional elements, and not with Hardie and AZEK and some of these other things that don't have the moldings, that don't have the details that are the good, right details. Now, remember that all of these companies that come out with the latest, greatest product have a library of products that they want you to use. And if you use the library of products in a vinyl siding catalog, you're not going to get something authentic. If you use the standard moldings from AZEK or Hardie or whatever, you're not getting authentic and true moldings. And so you have to fight. Now, who are you fighting? Sometimes you're fighting your builder, sometimes you're fighting your architect, sometimes you're fighting the trades, right? But you are demanding, okay, and you need to get on your team. And the reason I do consulting all over the country is because I'm someone that helps people fight for what's beautiful and the proper details. The eaves of houses have just become a big old mess. The number one detail that I draw up is an eave of a house because it's so messed up. Anyway, house styles post 1970, hopefully we're just going to flush those away, okay? If you look at a house built in the last 50 years, most likely the design of it, I would say 95% of the houses built in the last 50 years, design-wise, aren't very good, okay? And I compare those to the historic precedent that came before it and go, yeah, if this is what our standard is over here, this isn't very good. And I'm not trying to be ugly. I'm not trying to say everybody's house is ugly. I live in a 1962 house. I don't think it's especially pretty. So, I'm with you, okay? I can't afford me sometimes. But realize what's happened to building is that all of these things after the ranch period, after William Levitt came along and started building cheap and fast, after the production builders got everybody going on cheap and fast, our houses after 1970 just haven't been very good. The fact that the one style you can probably name after the 1980s or after 1970s is the McMansion, which is a derogatory term, right? It means that we've kind of lost our way. So what it means is that if you're trying to identify your house, if you're trying to identify what period and style it is, most likely if it was built in the last 50 years, you need to flush it out. Know that there is no real style, there is no design ideal that's really pushing it. And as we study these other styles, you're going to realize all of the historic precedent that came from each one of these that makes our houses beautiful, that if we can take those and infuse them into our houses today, we will have better houses. So watch my Wednesday videos. All I'm doing is I'm taking those houses and taking historic precedent and making them better. And so you can still make these houses beautiful, but it will be dipping into the past to get the porches right, to get the windows right, to get all of those great historic details that make a house rich and beautiful.